Good evening, everyone. I am here with reggae artist Jonathan Emile, or maybe I shouldn't just put just reggae artist, musician, but yes, we're going to be talking about his collaboration with Maxi Priest, Babylon is Falling, his musical journey, and also he's a survivor, he's an overcomer, and we're going to hear why. So hello, Jonathan.
Thank you so much for having me on the program today. It means a lot. Thank you.
So let's just begin at the beginning. That's what I like. I always like to find out about the person behind the music. So tell me about your origins.
Yeah, so I was born and raised in Montreal, Canada, and my mom is from South in Jamaica, Savannah Lamar in Jamaica.
Okay.
That's near Petersfield, where Peter Tosh comes from, and in Westmoreland. And I was born in Montreal. My father is Black American and Quebecois. Quebecois is French Canadian.
Okay.
And I was just brought up in Montreal with a deep appreciation for music.
Right.
My parents are very hardworking, very educated people who took on the mantle or took on the they had an obligation to not only send me to good schools, and I went to great schools, but also to give me a Black education.
Yeah.
And an education that as a minority, you must have experienced the same thing, growing up in London. But you're in a position where you're a minority, or you come from you're either first or second generation in a country in a foreign, as they say,
foreign.
And they took it upon themselves to make sure that I get the proper education, not only formally, in the form, but also through Black education. So introducing me to literature, to music, to film, to culture, and making sure I had an understanding of what it was to be in the world in that has traditionally oppressed us and has left us. It's so funny right now. I'm on my balcony. My mom is waving to me.
Oh, really?
Hi, Mom. I'm doing an interview in London. I'm doing an interview in London right now.
Aww.
Yeah, I'm on the line. So my parents, my parents, they don't even, we're very close family, right?
Yeah.
And I'll explain in a minute why. So my parents made it an obligation for them to do that. And, with every dinner that I had as a child, growing up in Quebec, you often pair food with wine, just like the French culture, food with wine. But my parents took the opportunity to pair the meal with music, right?
Okay.
So what they did was everything from Bob Marley and Peter Tosh to Nina Simone and Stevie Wonder to opera music to Latin music, Havana Social Club, to West African music, and they just made sure that we got our music education while we would have dinner, and then we'd eat and have an exchange. And this really had a deep impact on me, and got me into writing poetry and trying to communicate through music. Going to churches when I was young. I was a member of the choir, and it stuck with me. It was a love. It was a hobby. Then I was 18 years old. I got diagnosed with a very aggressive form of cancer, which is rhabdomyosarcoma, and it usually occurs in the bones.
Oh no!
And the survival rate for that is, 10%. And it was really not clear. It's a pediatric cancer, and I got it right when I was 18, and it was really not clear if I was going to be able to survive this. So during my surgeries, my chemotherapy, my radiotherapy, I used music as a tool to help heal myself. Writing down my thoughts, sort of as like a last will and testament to my family.
You wrote down the last will and testament. You wrote a
through
will.
Music.
Oh, right.
Through music.
Wow.
What I wanted to say to everyone, I didn't have anything. I was 18. I'm a baby, right? And I think I'm grown, but I'm a baby. But in terms of what I wanted to communicate to the people that I love, I did that in song. You know what I mean? So I learned how to play the guitar and really how to write music and I communicated all these emotions and all these thoughts that I needed to communicate through music. And it wasn't clear if I was going to make it. So what I said is, listen, if somehow by some miracle of chance that I make it through my treatments and I manage to survive, then I will continue to be in love with music and to sort of share my perspective and to be honest with the world through music.
Yeah.
My background musically is very much in hip hop. You know, I love hip hop music, but I also love reggae music. I love jazz. I was in a jazz band. Just all music. You know, music is I think the singular.
Your camera went then. Yeah. It's okay.
Sorry,
You're back.
Max is calling me, so I have to call him back. It's the singular cultural and spiritual thread that connects all Black people.
Yeah.
Right. Whether it's in West Africa with using the talking drum, to mourn, to celebrate, to communicate.
Yeah.
Through slavery in the Middle Passage, the thing that really does tie us together is music and expression through music. And it has such a healing property. So getting through that, I wanted to communicate that idea and that message to as many people as I could, just being true to myself. So that's my origin story. So I'm an artist, but I think more than anything, I'm just a human with a human experience that I'm trying to communicate that can hopefully help bring people together.
But I wanted to sort of explore just a little bit more when you were writing your music at that time, not knowing what the future held. How did the music make you feel? Because you talk about helping others and thinking about others, but what about yourself? How did you feel inside?
It felt liberating, right? So like, one thing about music, when you feel no pain, that's true. And it helped me with the nausea. It helped me with the physical pain. It helped me with the withdrawal from all the drugs that I had to take to get through the morphine or whatever. It's music is a complete totality of your being, not just your body, not just your mind, but your spirit as well. So music really, is a refuge, and even now with all the COVID-19 and based being at the forefront, because it was always there, but now it's at the forefront. It helps me, and I'm sure it helps a lot of people.
So, all right. When did you know that you were going to survive? If maybe it's a clumsy way of putting it, but
No, it's a good way of putting it. It's pretty direct, because when did I know? I think it was towards the last week of my radiotherapy. So that was, that must have been in winter of the end of 2006, right? So at that time I realized, okay, there is a good chance that I'm going to make it through, because before then it really wasn't clear, because the thing you need to know about it is, well, I think we've all been touched by cancer, right? I mean, and when somebody is going through cancer, it's not only them who's going through cancer, the psychosocial and all the people them around them are experiencing it as well too. So when I felt I had some hope was at the end of my radiotherapy. I did 5 weeks consecutive, and I said, okay, maybe I'm gonna make it through. And then the rest of it was a process. That's when the doctors told me, it's looking good for you. You're young, you're strong, you can bounce back from the intense, from the bombardment that we've done with the chemo and radio. You're gonna make it through. But you never really know, because there's so many, when I sit in these focus groups back then, there's so many people who beat it and then it came back. You know what I mean? It reoccurred. So all through remission, I sort of, it's like really at the back of your mind, okay, it could come back, it would come back.
Yeah.
So I guess to answer your question, it's that December I felt like, okay, I really could survive.
Yeah.
And then after 5 years of, which is the remission window, after the 5 years, it was really like, okay, I'm no longer a cancer patient, you know. Slowly the CT scans, they wind down, and the you know, and the follow-ups, they get more and more protracted.
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay, I'm alive. And now I'm like, okay, what am I going to do next? So this, you know, at that time I'm 25, I'm 26 years old. And for me, the answer was like, all right, music.
Yeah.
This is what I want to do. This is what I want to do.
That was going to be my next question. You know, what, you know, when did you decide that, right, music is what I'm going to do?
Well, I mean, I had to figure it out because already at 26, people are, you know, I'm getting in the game way later than most people would do it. But I think by the time I was, you know, 28 years old, I realized that I just couldn't live without music. It became part of my self-care personally, but it's also the best way to communicate what I needed to. Yeah. And I think by 28 years old, like I was like, you know, there's no other life for me, you know. Yeah. At that point, I would write every day, every second day, and to this day, I write every day.
You still write, yeah.
I still write every day. You know, 90% of what I write, no one will ever hear, but
but there's that 10%.
Because I got to take the best stuff and, you know, put the best foot forward. But yeah, late in the game is when I realized, you know what, this is all I want to do. Yeah. You know, and then I started really trying to collaborate and work and understand the industry very tactfully and aggressively, you know. I said, you know, I'm going to do music, but I was like, you know, this is going to be my career. This is the totality of, you know, this is what I'm meant to do on this earth. Yeah.
So have you just stuck to one genre? Is it just reggae? Or do you not have, are you not restricted? You don't put yourself in a category?
I try not to put myself in a box, and I'm lucky to do that. You know, it's been challenging, I won't lie, but because I haven't had the sort of path or the blueprint to do that, you know. There's a bunch of things that are working against people that are sending me messages. A bunch of things that are working against me. One, you know, I'm not from Yard. You know, I'm second generation. I didn't grow up in the scene. You know, I'm coming into it late. But really, it was always just about music. You know, in the beginning. And reggae is like my first love of music. Yeah. You know,
mine too.
And and I never, you know, it took me a long time to get the confidence and the this might sound strange because reggae is so universal, anybody can do reggae music, right? But it took me a while to get the confidence to do a full reggae album, because when I was doing hip hop, my background was mostly hip hop. I was doing hip hop music, and I still continue it. But when I was doing hip hop, I'd do a refrain or a verse in patois, you know, in the reggae style, and even rap over reggae beats. But I think growing up and being more comfortable with who I am and my experience, it allowed me to tap into that part of my being and my heritage, you know, and really express my love for it. Yeah. Because it's one thing to be in love, but, you know, just have to be able to express it as an artist. It's a different well, I'm losing the words. It's a different thing. It's a different reality. It's a different reality, you know, because you become the subject, you know. Reggae is the object, and you can take the energy from it, but now you're becoming part of the culture and part of the legacy of the culture. Yeah. And it's phenomenal that I connected with Maxi, because he is the prototype. He is the giant whose shoulders I can stand on to say, look
That's
at
a
me, you
good
know,
thing
like,
to say. Yeah.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
he did it. He basically brought reggae fusion to the world, you
Yeah.
know, and he did it with such integrity and so smooth. It's like, let me, when he agreed to collaborate, it was a life-changing moment because we have so many similarities, and it's great to have a mentor, somebody who has carved the path and say,
Yeah.
who could tell me, it's like, bro, don't do this, do that, you know.
Yeah. 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 They
And
needed
then
it.
he's
Yeah.
real with me, you know.
Mm.
Yeah, so yeah, I hope that answers the question.
Yeah. How did the collaboration come about? How did it happen?
After I signed a deal with Tough Gong, for the distribution of the album, Spaces in Between, um, I got in contact with a publicist. His name's Spoonie, Brian Greenspoon. So Spoonie, when working with him, I let him know that, you know, I can't live out here in the shadows and far distant away Canada, you know, in the icebox, just figuring out how to do this. I need to connect with some people, and I need to be more present in the culture, because I went down to Westmoreland. I went down to Jamaica to film some of the music videos for the project.
Okay.
But you know, I felt like I needed to be more present and more connected. And I was like, who do you think that? Because he's been in the game forever, and I was like, who do you think that I would connect well with? So he thought about it, and he came back with a couple of people. I did a tune with Etana, called Canopy, and that was a great experience. She's wonderful. And he also suggested, you know, I really think that you and Maxi Priest will get along, you know, just because of how we see things, but also the reason that we do things. It's really sociological. It's I and I. It's for the people. You know, it's very heartfelt, and we both put a lot of care and concern into what we produce. You know, and on top of that, making sure that the umbrella can be broadened and really bring all different people together. And Brian saw that. I have to give him credit for that. And I traveled down to New York, and we spent a couple of days writing the song together.
Wow.
When we first met in New York City, and he didn't really know much about me, but he just knew that he really liked that song, Babylon Is Fallen. I told him, I basically gave him carte blanche, right? So I gave him, this is the 10 songs on the album. I would love for you to remix one of the tunes, and that is the one that he picked.
Oh, right. Okay.
I gave him the freedom to do that. I didn't know what he was gonna pick, because you know, Maxi, he could literally sing on any type of you know, he's gospel, he's R&B, he's reggae, he's rock, you know. So I said, Maxi Priest wants to do something with me, like, let's pick any song on the album. And that song, you know, stood out to him, and we were able to meet and work on the remix together.
I like it. I like the song. It's reggae, but with a difference and a message, you know. So yeah, I definitely like it.
That's it.
So what would you say has been the highlight of your career so far, your musical career?
That's a big question. I really do think this working the last year, because I literally signed the agreement with Tough Gong. It's been under a year. So last August I signed the agreement with Tough Gong, and then things started moving forward and taking shape.
Yeah.
This last year has really been life-changing.
Wow.
Working with Maxi and having that relationship with somebody who is not willing just to pass the torches, but to light it and show you how to hold it. It's been very special, you know. And I think working with Maxi Priest has been the highlight of my career. For sure.
I had a feeling you would say that.
Performance-wise, I had an incredible time, like really debuting the music at a festival in Canada. I don't know if you know of the company Canopy Growth, but they are they're the biggest cannabis supplier of the world. And, you know, well, in Canada, it's legal and everything. And getting to perform with a 10-piece band on a stage at a festival that is about one love, about community, you know, and performing the music for the very first time from the album Spaces in Between, knowing that, okay, I'm going to push this with Tough Gong and things are going to take this direction and I get to be authentic in who I am and get out there in the world. That was a pivotal moment.
That's good.
Well, just highlight. And I got to do it with people who I love, musicians who I've been working with for years. And that was a moment. I think, you know, the toughest part about this lockdown is really not having the opportunity to perform.
Yeah, I can imagine.
People.
Yeah.
And that moment, you know, that was the last, not the last, but I think the most significant show that I did. That really is the highlight of my career. There's a lot of great things. Did the launch in New York, then we did a launch in Montreal and launch in Toronto. We're supposed to do one in London, but COVID came but that moment on stage, and then just the writing process with Maxi bringing the song to fruition and all the wisdom that he shared with me after. That's something else. That's really
what I mean, this is not to do with music, but what is it like over there in Canada with the COVID situation?
You know, it's calm, you know. We've managed, when I say we've, I mean the government and we have a very strong socialized medicine system, and we attacked it very aggressively. We were not shy about locking things down, and you know, the idea of masks and all of that. So, you know, there's been a lot of death. In this province alone, there's been, you know, 7,000 people who have died. In Quebec, where I split my time between Quebec and Ontario. So there's been significant death, but I think we've managed to take care of people, you know? Because it's always the most vulnerable. It's always the disenfranchised. It's always the people who need the most help, that suffer the most, and when there's a crisis, right? So I think, you know, we got a public transportation on the tube, or we call the metro over here. We take, we need to wear a mask. We have free areas where we can get testing and everything. And that's it. We just have to really be patient and really be mindful, you know? Be sanitary, be mindful.
Yeah, that's right. Be mindful. That's what it is. So, is there anything in the pipeline that we need to know about apart from Babylon is Falling?
I don't know. I don't know what I'm allowed to say. Hold on.
Okay, so there is something.
Yeah, there's always something. There's always something. Because, especially since I have all this time to write and think and strategize and everything. I will be putting out a live version of Spaces in Between with the 10-piece band. We recorded that over a year ago.
Oh, lovely!
And I can't wait to put it out. It just gives a new dimension to it, and lets people know that this is just I'm not just a studio artist, you know. Just I'm somebody who can give a good live show. And going back to Babylon is Falling, you know, I managed to get Maxi Priest to agree to do a remix of the remix in French. So, because I grew up in Montreal, I speak fluent French, and I decided, you know, let's do this song. It's an international song. It's about international solidarity, interracial, or, you know, every color united. So like, I had an opportunity to do it in French, so I'm gonna do a version of the song in French, and Max will say a couple of lines in French. Not the whole thing, but he's, for the first time in his career, he's gonna sing in French. So that's a win for
that's
Quebec.
That's a win for you. Yeah, that's good. You can lay claim to that.
That's it. You know? And so that's coming out, and we're negotiating with labels. It's a weird time right now because there's no show, so we have to figure out how to be creative on
Yes.
on everything, but there's lots of in the pipeline. There are lots in the
Yeah.
pipeline.
Well, my final question is, how do you, no, actually I've got two questions, but the first one is, how do you see reggae in the world right now? How do you see the impact of reggae?
I think, you know, in terms of the whole commercial side, I think reggae is the next wave.
Yeah.
I mean, because look at Rihanna, she's doing a reggae album, and you're getting a little bit more. I mean, you know, when Buju came out of jail and came back to Jamaica, there was sort of a revival, you know, and always in hip hop is so influenced by Jamaican culture and reggae music. But I really do think it's the next commercial wave is to do reggae. But on a social and spiritual side, I think the world needs reggae now more than ever.
Yeah.
You know, how long have we been talking about Babylon is falling, and Babylon is
falling.
It's you know, systems of injustice.
Yes.
And incompetence and indifference.
Yeah.
Are being shattered right now. And we have it all on video, and we're all at home now. We have time to think and you know, when Dr. King talks about appealing to the moral conscience of people, you know, thinking about what's right and what's wrong. You know, people need time to think about it.
Yeah.
The world is so fast paced, and everything's a click and an emoticon, or everything's a quick six-second. People don't have time to think, and what this has done is maybe given some people some time to think. And I think that because reggae is still so authentically connected to the human spirit and the spirit of resistance, and in a way that can be calm and can be accommodating and be prophetic and truthful, I think that the world needs reggae now more than any. Maybe not more than any time, but I think the world is ready for reggae, and I think the world needs reggae right now. You know?
There's the serious message.
You know, whether it's the message of love or a message of resistance or a message of patience, you know, I think the world is really ready for reggae music.
So how my final question, how would you describe yourself to the world?
Wow. Well, I don't like to do that, but I don't know. I just feel like I don't know. I just still feel like a student, you know. I'm just I'm someone who is it may sound really cliche, but I'm somebody who's filled with a lot of love. Somebody who is for justice, and that means fighting injustice. So my music is very much focused on that in the tradition of reggae music and black music, you know. You know, and I'm a student, you know, like learning when I hear from Max or speak with Max, or when I speak to different people, and a lot of the elders. I like to study, so I feel like I'm an artist and I'm a student. That's it, you know.
You're a student of reggae.
I'm a student of a lot of things, humanity, the world, but definitely reggae. I'm a student, you know. I still have a lot to learn.
Always. There's always something to learn. Definitely. So how can people, what's your social media handles? How can people find your music?
Basically everything at Jonathan Emile. So that's JONATHANEMILE. Jonathan Emile.
Nice and easy.
And you can get that, you know, jonathanemile.com is the website where you can connect with everything, but Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, you know, even Spotify and Pandora, and these are, you can go on all of them and find me just by typing in Jonathan Emile.
Lovely. Well, Jonathan, it's been lovely meeting you. It's been lovely interviewing you.
Thank you, Paul. I really appreciate it.
You've given me food for thought, and I know people who watch this will be edified.
Wonderful.
Nice
and
to
next time
meet
I'm in London, I'm gonna come check you for real.
Oh, yes,
all right?
please. Okay.
Wonderful.
Okay. Take
All right.
care.
Big
All
up
right,
yourself.
then.
Blessings. All right.
Bye.